Hello, everybody out there in awesome admin land. I recently spoke at my Austin nonprofit user group meeting, and when I do that, I always record what I said and distribute it more broadly. Um, I started off actually by showing the contact page of my own installation now that Winter 20 is out. Um, you can see that we calculate a big field that sort of summarizes a person. And now in winter, it actually only shows two lines, and you hover over it and you can see the rest, which is really nice. I like it. It tells us in two lines kind of why we know this person, what they've done lately, how they're related to other people, and it's a big calculated field. Then we have some of the highlights, and you can see that we're still having trouble getting our mobile phone numbers entered in right. Somehow through our import processes, it's getting crazy. But anyway, donor information, volunteer information, client information, and supporter information is shown in the left column, depending on what the person is. I'm a donor and I'm a volunteer. Apparently, I'm lapsed. Um, and I'm also a subscriber, so there'll be some contact things at the bottom, and then a little contact history. In the middle column is our related kind of information. We are using, all our users can now upload pictures of people. So we have pictures. This is a flow that helps service the volunteer person who's in front of us. We can look up their affiliations and their relationships here, and it's using, um, you know, uh, some smart add-ons. We can look up client details, volunteer details, in-kind donation details, or supporter marketing details if we want. Perhaps I'll expand that one because it's perhaps interesting. This is using the accordion element. Um, and under there, we can see the recent contact history and expand all of them. We have some marketing stats. You know, I've been on 154 campaigns. I have a personal lead score of that. I am affiliated with organizations that have a very high lead score, 2 million and some. Um, all of this is just to help us get stats on people and know why we know them and focus on the people. We have cases, social media cases, and then reference links and some system information. And then on the far right, we have communication stuff. I'll move my talking head maybe so you can see that. Topics, we're using topics to try to classify anybody we need. Like if we need a quick list of certain kinds of people, we can do that. I don't seem to be able to move that talking head. There we go. Um, we're using Twilio to text directly to people inside Salesforce. We have the usual activity stuff. We have email capability down here and activity history and so on. So anyway, it's a very busy page. A lot of people don't like busy pages like that, but that's how we're doing it. It's very adaptive. If we weren't looking at me, we might be looking at a client or a volunteer, and we'd only see that kind of information that's relevant. So anyway, now what I actually talked about was Salesforce Pro Bono program. And you can find that somewhere on Salesforce webpage, but they kind of move it around. So the way to find it is just to type in into Google Salesforce Pro Bono program and Google it, and it should be one of the top links that come up. It is currently living on Salesforce.org page under volunteers and pro bono. Who knows why? Unimportant to me. It was important I can find it. And this page says if you need expertise, here's a pro bono program, and here's how to apply. We can click that button to apply because really it seems like you're maybe jumping the gun, but most information about how to apply and what you need to know is actually embedded in the form. So you might as well go ahead and click that. There's no penalty for doing so. First off, it says what makes a successful project. And you know what makes a successful project is the same thing that makes one in your own organization. It's small, it has focus, it's well defined, and it's going to have impact. Um, how does it get staffed? Once upon a time, the pro bono program might have included volunteers from outside Salesforce, but that is not true today. The program is going to get staffed by people who are matched inside of Salesforce. They're Salesforce staff, and they're going to be capable and certified for the work that they volunteer for. What if I need someone right now? This is a fancy way of saying, pro bono programs aren't immediately assigned, and if you needed someone right now, you should turn to consulting services. Um, and are you ready to apply? And the answer is yes. So let me click into that again. It seems like maybe you wouldn't want to click that apply button, but most of the information you need is really embedded in there. So go ahead. There's no penalty for it. The first thing it's going to do is ask you to log in because it is connected directly to your org. You cannot apply for pro bono services unless you have an organization. So I have done that, and regrettably, I have finished all the steps. I wonder, rats. I have finished all the steps, which means I'm not going to be able to show you all the steps. That's so sad. All right, so the introduction has a lot of wonderful information about what you'd want to do. The survey, I think what they're trying to do with the survey is screen that you are an org who's really using Salesforce. You're not just getting started. I'm not sure their pro bono services are really meant for people who are just getting started. They want to assess how you're using Salesforce and that you're successful using Salesforce. I think they want their volunteers coming into programs that augment the success of a program using Salesforce, not necessarily try to rectify or rescue a program or get a program started. You have to enter in contacts, and they're looking. Anyone can apply, but you must know the primary contact of the person who takes care of your Salesforce, and you have to have their permission to put it down. And then you must know the contact information of a sponsoring executive, and you must have their permission to put it down. So they're going to ask you for two contacts, and of course, this is to screen that you have an organization that is willing to receive a Salesforce volunteer and get work done. And then they're going to ask you about your organization. And again, I honestly think this is kind of marketing or to help them classify who they help when they volunteer, when they roll up the volunteer hours. This has nothing to do with the project. So this is mostly your mission and your organization and your EIN and things like that. Um, so, um, you know, this is fairly easy to fill out, but it's going to take a minute. And then finally, they ask you for the project. And I so wish that I hadn't already filled this out because I would have been able to show you that they have a lot of information on the project. And again, you're going to want to hurry up and get to this page so that it can help you. There are about 10 categories of projects that you can apply for, and they give you about 3 sentences about each category. So one of the things is like gathering requirements, and they give you 2 or 3 sentences that help you scope a gathering requirements project. Um, they're looking for jobs that someone who's an advanced admin or an advanced developer or whatever can get done in about 3 days. So if you're kind of a intermediate or novice person, if it would take you 2 weeks as a novice person, maybe that's the kind of project to ask them to do because somebody experienced can come in and maybe do it in 3 days. If you're an intermediate level person, perhaps if it would take you a week's worth of work, it's an appropriate project to ask them to come in and help you do because they can probably knock it out in 2 or 3 days. But they're looking for their volunteers to spend 2 or 3 days, not 2 or 3 months or that sort of thing. So these little guides they give you as you fill out the form are very helpful. So the categories that I can remember off the top of my head were requirements gathering, data migration, simple administration, simple customization, process automation, um, and health, assessing the health of your organization. And there might have been a couple others, but I no longer remember every single category. But each had a 2 or 3 sentence paragraph that showed once you picked it that helped you write the next sentence. And all they're really looking from you is a 3 or 4 sentence description of what the work is going to be. And then they're asking you next, how are you going to tell that this work is done? What are the outcomes you're expecting? And how are you going to tell it has impact? And that's really all it takes to submit a pro bono request. So I personally submitted a pro bono request. That's why it says thank you for my submission here. And under the scope, what I actually asked to do is I got a license to knowledge articles, but we haven't begun authoring knowledge articles yet. We're already using cases, but I'd like to use cases better. And so what I'm hoping that they will do is they'll come in and help me use some of the standard fields on cases better, and possibly create a queue to assign to my people so they can check in and out of the queue, depending on whether they're on retreat or working that weekend or not. And then I'm hoping that we can begin to author some knowledge articles that are the frequent answers, and get more efficient at that. So that was the scope of the project I asked for. And deliverables were some knowledge articles, some configuration of the queue, and sort of an analysis of how many cases have we been doing, because we've been using cases for about a year now. How many cases have we done in the past year, and what makes sense to look at in terms of improving efficiency? So anyway, I hope this helps you. Pro bono, the pro bono Salesforce work has been around for a long time, but they are really pushing it this last week, and maybe this month. And so I hope you'll take a look at it and maybe start your own pro bono request. I don't know how often you can request one of these. Obviously, I can't request another one. It says one at a time, and so and I've been promised that someone inside of Salesforce will be reviewing my submission so that it can be posted to an internal website, so that the internal volunteers can peruse it and match to my project. So that's what pro bono was like. So give it a shot and take a look at it. Get ready sometime. Now might be a great time to submit a project, because it might not be matched until the new year, and you'll be all ready to start fresh in the new year with some projects like that. So give it a try. Thanks very much for watching. Remember, my blog is at mightyforce.org. And there you will find this video, for one. You will find videos that I have submitted in the past. You will find blog articles that I have submitted in the past. We have some sample data download. And take a look at it. Here's the videos that we've created lately. They include, I have learning NPSP for the first time. I have a talking series about NPSP that I think is good. Obviously, you should also learn tips and techniques from the community-driven videos, but Mark is about where the data structure and the whys and the differences between nonprofit and business use. I have lots of videos that I record. Just take a look if you're interested in the way the contact page looks. I did a presentation at Dreamforce about lightning page layouts. If you're interested in Wall of Zero, that was recently featured in the Data Health and Workbook put out by Salesforce.org. I did a Dreamforce presentation on Wall of Zero, and have a look. Thanks very much for watching. Have a great, awesome admin day.